Let me just get you situated. Alrighty, as far as I am concerned, we are live. What I'm going to do though is go and activate my backup device. I didn't want to bring that out in case there were any hiccups. I'm going to put everything into the shade for the time being because sunshine, while it is a breezy day, it could still pose a problem for the transmitter, and who needs to get cut off after all the low production errors that we have had, again, leading up to this. What else is new? Let's just stay authentic. So, if you are here and you can hear me, please, please give me a 1 in the chat just to know if you can hear me. There we go. That is dealt with. Welcome to the patio. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much even for being here. I want to start right out of the gate by saying thank you so much to Rick L for the wonderful shout out. Trust me to make another mistake. The time I do get a shout out, I've got it all wrong. A carpenter bee. You are not supposed to be here. Hello, samurai. How are you? It's good to see you. Right. Greetings from Rare Roots of Joy. It's good to see you as well. Wow, that's late. It's so nice. Hello, Rick. Thank you so much for the shout out. Let me tell you something. By the end of this season, I'm going to get this whole streaming things down pat. And by that time, I will have to learn about it all again come April of 2025. I thought I was scheduled for 1530 military time in Europe, and I didn't check the AM PM setting. So you were right, I was wrong, and last night, well, early this morning, my hour pre-stream alarm went off, and I thought, that's weird, went back to sleep, and then the mind was churning and churning, and I thought, oh no, please don't. So at 4:45 a.m., I ran downstairs and reset everything. I'm telling you, I think I got to sleep at 5. Okie dokie. Oh, Fernanda Nacimiento, Orchids and Succulents. It is so good to see you. I am so glad you're here. I don't know if you want to share anything in the chat, but know that I am thinking of you a lot and hoping you are doing well. Oh, goodness me, girl. I had a bad fall, and I can tell you that you may hear today a few like, oh, ooh, ee, ah, you know, like, yeah. Something's going on with my right knee. It's not cooperating. So we're going to take it easy. We're going to take it slow, but we're going to go, go, go. Right. Next thing I want, because the chat on the screen here on my mobile keeps disappearing, I need another device. This is really a puzzle, how they make you do this if you want to go live on a mobile with YouTube. How am I supposed to interact with the chat, with the wonderful people that actually make it? And then I can't even do that because the chat keeps disappearing. So, trust and believe I'm here. Fran Ricks. Now, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but to my knowledge, I have not seen you here before, but that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. Welcome to the patio in beautiful southern Spain. We are looking at a massive specimen of a Maxillaria variabilis, lovingly known as cousin it here on the patio, but what I never managed to grow as a house plant, behold, is absolutely doing fabulously in my variabilis. I don't mind. In the past, I've left all that on because A, pretty, but it's getting out of hand and there's plenty of time for it to grow back because it always does. However, I'm also concerned because as it is so dense, not mentally dense, but dense, I don't want any pests to get into this orchid. Have had enough struggles with this orchid. My bad. It's growing out of proportion. I did not give it enough calcium last year because all I ever did as you do, you get into a rhythm, was fill the dish at the bottom. And when we unveil the dish, you will see that it is actually not really fit for purpose based on the size of the orchid. So what I'm doing differently this year, like with Stan the Man, I'm pouring everything in from the top, and eventually the dish will get full in the hopes that I can grow structures, leaves, etc. that will be able to withstand the cold temperatures this orchid has to tolerate here because it lives outside all the time. Thank you, Fran Rix, for being gracious about that. Know that you're welcome, and well, it is a Saturday morning for some, it is a Saturday night for some, and maybe we can even grab the Philippines at some point. Everybody with a blue wrench, you have powers. You can share. Sharon, I'm going to get you a wrench, but right now I want to get into the weeding thing, but I want to make you a moderator as well. But everybody with blue, like a wrench thingy there in blue colors, you have powers. If you see a channel, if you have a channel, please grab your links, grab everybody else's links, post them in the chat so that other people can find you, can subscribe to your channels. I don't care if you're orchid related, if you're true crime related. I'm also in the YouTube drama community, so sometimes they show up, but mainly for the orchid peeps. If you're into anything, if you have a channel, throw in your link and look for other people who do not have a blue highlighted name and see if they have a channel, and please, please, share the links out. This is the quickest way to actually get people, well, let's say known and spread the word. And another thing, everybody with a blue wrench can also have the function, they don't have to log out of the stream. You click on your name and you can have the opportunity, the option to just say, go to channel. Look at the name that you're looking at, and then you'll see the option, go to channel. You press on that, it'll take you straight to the channel and you can grab the link there, the URL. That would be amazing if you could do that for me, because that's another thing I cannot do on YouTube. I cannot do that over the phone. I can't tap the name and get that function. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking for that. But I think it's always nice to be able to support other channels as far as I am concerned. And Rick L., I would say you are absolutely right up my alley with that. So thank you so, so much. We have royalty in the house. If you're not familiar with Rick's channel, which I doubt very much, I think everybody is familiar with Rick's channel, but at least somebody can put Rick's channel into the description, I'm on a stream, into the chat, please. That would be amazing. Thank you so much. So I know that this may take a long time. There's a few other orchids I do want to show you, and I'm actually kind of considering, I pointed this out in the last stream last weekend, and there's more fern here than I actually had last week. So what I'm thinking now of doing, to not bore you with weeding, does that tickle? Does that tickle? Oh, it's okay, it's okay. You'll get over it. Promise not to rip anything of you out. We have conversation, Cousins It and I. I was actually thinking one day to do a Q&A, Cousin It and I, see what he has to say about what he sees going on here on the patio. But anyway, I think what I'm going to actually do is bring out my Renantheras, because we haven't seen those for a long time. They're a little bit quicker. And then as the stream progresses, maybe we can go back and fiddle with Cousin It and give him a rest. I don't know. Let me just make sure that transmitter isn't heating up. And the verdant turf is here from the Philippines. Woohoo! The verdant turf, would you please get Orchid Fortress's link and put that in the chat? Hello, Alice Babu. It's good to see you. Welcome to southern Spain. Wonderful to have you on the patio. Let me move you back a little bit again into the shade. And I'm going to get the Renantheras. I think that's what we're going to do. Because there has been some development, especially with my Caloptera. You see, my eye is popping again. It's like flipping popcorn in there. I don't know what happened. Don't know why it happened. Apart from a fall a couple of weeks ago, but then that should have happened sooner. Okay. Right. Now, what we're going to do is tilt you. Renanthera caloptera. She is a gift from Anonymous. In my video that I posted, the latest video about repotting, etc., you will see her in that, where I potted her up. And if you remember, I know things go fast sometimes in videos, but if you remember how tiny she was, look at what it's done over the winter. She is a super, super slow grower. I have her in an orchid top with lava rock. There's a bit of ceramis at the base just to get the wicking potential going so that some of the water leaks into the lava rock and stays there. But that is it. And look at the jump that she has done. I know, it doesn't look like much, but I've had her 2 years. And Renantheras are not exactly famous for fast growth. But I am so thrilled that over the winter, she's put on some bulk. Not necessarily many, many, many more leaves, but what she's got going for her is definitely bigger, chunkier, and that makes me happy. You see, there's another thing about Renantheras, they also get stem rot really easily. So this whole fern malarkey, while it's nice, I can't have it. And even though I really want to pull out the roots, I can't do that either because I may be doing damage to whatever roots she's got going on in the pot. So I don't want to be yanking around, pulling radically. These orchids are not exactly generous root growers. That's why I'm going in with my snips. And I know this is all only temporary, but at least something. And Cousin It is right now thinking, well, excuse me, I'm on the thumbnail, what are you doing? Yeah, well, we'll get to you later. If not even in this live stream. I will post an after picture, but I don't want to bore the public. The ones that have come here and me just faffing around. You're going to take about 45 minutes, dude, so lighten up. I haven't shown Cousin It much because of the cold damage he sustained. His blooming is sensational. We still have some blooms left. It just doesn't stop. It's fantastic. But now it's growth time. And today he's got a massive glug of calcium nitrate. And with the wind that's going on right now, you can imagine I'm doing that maybe 3 times a day. So yeah, thank you for all the links. Thank you. The Verdant Turf Orchid Fortress, appreciate that. Thank you very much. I meant to say that last week, but then in the flow of the conversation, I forgot, so I felt bad. But stuff like this is very important to me. Odis Bissell, good morning. Good morning. Wow, that's early from you. It is so good to see you. I saw you for the first time, I believe. Forgive me if memory fails, but for the first time in the comments on a regular video. It was so nice because I also saw that you subscribed a couple of weeks ago. And when I see that happening, I'm always like eagerly watching for names so that I can actually say thank you for doing that. And sometimes people subscribe and they don't comment, and then, you know, I don't want anybody to think that I'm not ever so grateful. So, did we get Rick L's channel in here? Everybody? Anybody? Yes, awesome. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. I'm here. This is kind of pimping my channel. Oh, can I please pimp my channel and ask if you would like the stream at least? That would be pimping it, I guess. Rick, thank you, Rick, so much. I feel a little isolated here in Europe. YouTube doesn't like European policies. It's too strict on them. So they don't really care about channels that got established in 2020 when our cyber laws got stricter and stricter and stricter. And I think 2025 is when the last regulation kicks in. And YouTube has a bigger demographic worldwide. They don't need a new channel in Europe to do anything with. So yeah, they don't really care. Anyway, I love Julie's channel and she's award-winning. Not only do we have royalty in the house, we have award-winning growers in the house as well. Talk about the house, I mean the patio. Okay, so this would just me being silly. But you see, when I do my repots and I talk about, oh, finally I get to remove roots, this is what I'm talking about. In about 4 weeks, we will have another little colony of maidenhair fern, but I am so pleased. So I haven't heard from Anonymous for a long, long time, and that's not her name, but she doesn't want to be mentioned for the orchids that she gifted me. So Anonymous, if you see this, I have emailed you. I hope you're doing okay. I'm a little bit concerned about you. But despite some of my failures with gifted orchids, gorgeous. Maybe in 2 years we'll see some blooms. They're supposed to be like a deep lavender, typical Renanthera on a longish spike. She doesn't get the correct light requirements during my winters. She definitely does not get the temperature she wants. That is why I'm so excited to see this increase in leaf structure. Right, my Mona Chica isn't as weedy thingamajig, but I'll show her anyway because I did say that in the title. Let me go get her. She's on the lower shelf on the east side here. And I also want to show you, which I haven't shown in a long time, my Epidendrum Schweinfortianum that I got 2 years in the Orchid Hall from Africa. And that one, you know, like in gardening, they say, first year they sleep, second year they creep, third year they leap. Schweinfortianum, yeah, a size jump as well. So here's Mona Chica. Thankfully, I don't have to fiddle with her much. There's nothing maidenhair fern-wise at all, but you can also see that the moss doesn't even like my winters. But she's still around. She's my 2.0 because I lost one, and that was because of stem rot. So she's really high up. The base of the orchid is here, even a bit higher than that. I didn't even dare put media around her. So we won't see any blooms with her either. Again, no light, not the correct light levels. She should be a little bit on the anthocyanin side, but when she comes out from the winter, she's all green. Usually she's much darker. There's a tiny little blush appearing. That's only because she's out now for the last 3 weeks or so. But at least, you know, all I'm saying is just stay alive, working on better times. That's all I'm saying. What I'm going to show you as well, if you don't mind, is my citrina. Let me just go and get her. She's in a different location. She's in the deep south because she's a bit taller and she tried to bloom for us, but her spike stopped growing and eventually died back because of the cold spell that we had where I had already brought the orchids outside. She didn't go outside, but she was in spike. And then the cold spell came for 2 weeks, so no blooms from citrina. And unfortunately, I thought it would be soon enough. Let's see what she's going to do. Would she push another spike? But nope, not today, not this year. So this one's a little bit more cumbersome to water because she's got these aerial roots. But we've been working since years now to straighten her out. When I got her, she had this real lean, like almost leaning out of the pot. So with a lot of light training, with a lot of patience, we're straightening her up. But she gets doused with calcium nitrate and all the good stuff. And now with a lot of seaweed, because I need these roots to grow actively. And it's so difficult to get Renanthera roots into pots. So there's a lot of misting going on. They're stiff as a board. Alrighty, well, I'm going to get my Schweinfortianum now and show you, Monsieur, if I ever get blooms out of this one, it's going to be sensational as well. This one actually does live outdoors for the most part, except I got a little concerned in the winter of 22, 23, where this orchid started to drop a lot of leaves. And see that fern there? Isn't that pretty? Actually, step back. and appreciate the shade for a little bit, do the transmitter effect, and raise you up. Da, 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 da. You know what? This orchid came, I know it may not look like much to you, but she came and she was half the size of the structures that she arrived with. Now she's like this. Sorry for the glare of the sun. Alternative is we move to the east table. But I am really pleased to see it made a difference on the really chilly nights on 23 and 24. I did bring her inside, and that is anything below 58 degrees Celsius. Now, this orchid can tolerate 58 degrees Fahrenheit, sorry. This orchid can tolerate temperatures all the way down to 41. That's not a problem. That's 5 degrees in my lingo, Celsius. But she is in lecker and self-watering. That makes a huge difference because I have not lost any leaves. Instead, I've got a lot of growth. She does not like cold feet. Never mind the wet feet. It's the cold feet. So bringing her in during the nights that were lower than the 58 degrees Fahrenheit and 10 Celsius made a massive difference. I've never had better foliage. Now, if she needs to double in size again, lengthwise, before she's even blooming. But what she does do, which I thought was super interesting, she throws out little cakeys. Look, right there. So I've been misting the roots, and then I thought, oh, no, 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 no. Sorry. Oops, sorry about that. That wasn't me, that wasn't my stomach. That was somebody on the road. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, so I was misting her a lot, and then I remembered I have a new growth down here. This orchid is amazing. I love it. Even if she doesn't bloom for me, I love her growth habit. And in climates, let's just say, you could actually put her in the ground like a reed stem epidendrum. Okay, maybe the foliage needs to be away from the lens. If I lower you a little bit. Like a reed stem epidendrum, you could pot her in the ground. If you amend the patch where you pot them, you can make it really free draining, a lot of sand, lava rock, all that fun stuff. A little bit of even gardening soil in the mix because they're very thirsty orchids. But they would make a wonderful hedge in the right climate. Oh, the potential. And I had to repot her once. She has Ancelia africana attributes with her roots. I bet she's completely pot bound again. So I'm not going to repot her again because the root system can be so exponential. First of all, I don't have that kind of media, and to think of a pot looking 5 times the size of the orchid herself, yeah, we're not there yet. But that means I need to water her often and a lot. Do you know, I actually bought myself a little trash bucket this time, and I've been throwing stuff on the patio floor. Talk about silly. Alrighty. So this is, well, pretty. It's not good. Any companion plants like this, it's not because of robbing the orchid of the nutrients. The orchid will take what it takes until it's had enough, and then take more the next time you water and fertilize. I'm not particularly concerned. It doesn't bother me. What I'm worried about is that the new growths don't even get enough light when this gets out of hand. That is an issue that needs to be avoided. Denise, it's good to see you. Thank you, Alice. Thank you so much for your kind comment there. Alice, I'm not entirely sure, but let me just say thank you for your support. I feel like your name is new to my eye. I'm not sure if I've seen you in comments before, but if you're here for the first time, consider yourself very, very welcome, and thank you so much for all the support that I was not aware that you were providing. Know that there are channel links here from other orchid growers. If you're not familiar with them, then also go check them out. We have orchid nutrition royalty in the house in the form of Rick L. We have a cute little mascot, I would say, for Rare Roots of Joy in the house. Buns. That's also a wonderful orchid channel over there in, no, I'm not going to say where, but it's on the other side of Australia. And then we've got award-winning orchid channel, an award-winning grower with Julie's Orchids as well. So if you're not familiar with those channels, then we also have where most of, or let's say a lot of our coveted orchids come from. We have the Verdant Turf also in the chat with his link from the Philippines. So he is exactly where some of the orchids that we grow come from. Lucky, lucky man. And a good friend of his also has a channel. The link is also in the chat if you want to check out Orchid Fortress, also in the Philippines. And Orchid Fortress also goes by Sir Tom. Great collections. I love the Orchid Fortress part. I love that name. It has every, oop, there's roots. There's a root tip, so we're going to go in with snips. Can you see that root tip there? So these roots have the similar kind of characteristics to Ancelia africanas. And probably, I wouldn't want to say Catasetinae because in Catasetinae there are certain things that you need to watch out for sometimes, but this one is just water, water, water all the time. You see the moss on top? That's pretty. It's this stuff here that could be a little bit too aggressive. I want my new growth to come out. I love this orchid because it has a little bit of that bamboo look to it, and the stems are serrated. It's like sandpaper. Wonderful, wonderful characteristics. Very happy to have found it. The blooms on this orchid, if we ever get to see them, they are a vibrant pink with a vibrant orange. So if you think of the fashion industry in the 60s, 70s, with the big bold circles in pink and orange, that's what these blooms look like, and very epidendrum in their shape. Clearly, it's an epidendrum. So, Schweinfurt actually is a city in Germany. So I don't know if Mr. Schweinfurt was the one that discovered this orchid or not, but I'm happy to have her on the patio. And really, with all my orchid shuffling that I do in the winter, on the odd occasions when I do bring her inside, that's just me now being very protective and understanding as well that, you know, temperature, ambient temperature does not equate to what is going on in the pot when you're working with an evaporative cooling media substrate like leca. So I've never shoved a thermometer down a pot, but for peace of mind, I just guesstimate that pots are 3 degrees cooler when you're growing in leca. So if you've got orchids growing outside permanently, just because they can tolerate XYZ temperature, and that's what you see on your thermometer, if you've got them in leca, think twice, because it's colder in the pot than actually what you see on the thermometer. And it was well worth, on the odd occasion, to bring her inside. I'm well pleased. Oh, we found another keiki. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Of course, I'm tempted to take them off and kind of try to propagate them, but it's way too soon. Now that I can see what I'm dealing with here, with this new growth, I wonder, you see, I'm going to now cultivate the roots on this one right here, but this wouldn't survive on its own, and then we just found another one. See, here's another new growth from a while back. But this one is looking nice. And you see the difference? It was all tucked there into the maidenhair fern. Look at that. We actually have green root tips. So the humidity buffer was perfect for them. Now they're probably going to dry out because of my somewhat dry air. I doubt I'm going to be so lucky to get another high humidity summer as I did in 2023. The thing with this orchid, though, that I have to be careful now that she is taller is when I pick her up, when I take her out of her mask, I sometimes snap the growths, and then that's it. Like this one, the top lead was broken. And I was thinking, well, does that trigger a keiki? And then there it is. Oh, I think I'm too far away. Well, I could do everything with Zoom, but I don't even dare touch the screen until I'm done. So here's the growth that I snapped off. And it's not like a requirement, snap off the growths to get keikis. We saw on healthy growths that other keikis are growing, but look. So this is a keiki from last year, and it's growing its own new growth. A propagating machine. I love me orchids like this. So anyway, right, we're going to put her away, and I'm going to catch up with chat and see. Whoops, sorry for all that motion. Hope you're okay with all of this. I should actually warn you. It just all happens so spur of the moment that I forget. My apologies. There we go. And while I tickle Mr. Cousin It here again, just for a little bit, I'm going to catch up with chat and try to think if there was something else I wanted to show you, because when I go about my daily orchid, tasks, things that I do, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show that in the live stream, and oh yeah, and I can also show that, and then here I am, discombobulated, and I forget. So if you have any questions, first of all, anybody, just throw in, how is your day going? What are you doing? Well, what have you done? And if you did nothing, I hope it was a fabulous way of spending time doing absolutely nothing. If you would like to share the drama that I have encountered today, I can share something with you that I'm trying to kind of erase out of my mind until after the stream, so I can deal with that, but it is weighing on my mind, and I think that's probably also interrupting the way I'm thinking. Anyway, so this morning, I was about to start my laundry and do all the chores for the Saturday indoors, and I was told the water's going to be cut off because my landlord's house, the other one, has a water problem. 30 minutes to an hour. I thought, yeah, right, on a weekend. Never works that way in Spain. And just now, 10 minutes before the stream, the lady comes in, knocks on the door, and it is no water for the weekend, because the work that needs to be done is a little bit more than what they thought. Isn't that just incredible? So she said, well, we've got the water going now so that you can fill up your bathtubs and everything. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I am about to go live. I can't do it right now. She says, so what do you want me to do? I'm like, what? We can't have this discussion right now. I just said I can't go live. I can't talk about this. What are you doing? But I suppose in retrospect, I'm glad she told me this before I actually hit the go live button, because the hoopla at the door, it was with the dogs and everything, it was not pleasant. So I don't have water until Monday. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They have to lift the floor, and I probably won't have water until Tuesday either, maybe Wednesday, because I know what they're trying to achieve there, and I've had a similar problem in a house where I lived a long time ago, and it took 5 days to get fixed, simply because of the way the tubes are compromised. When a tree grows its roots into your tubes, and that over a long, long period, you're pretty much, pardon my French, screwed. Because it's not just what you see. It goes. So I'm very concerned for the coming days. Yeah, I can fill my bathtubs. That's not the problem. I have RO water on reserve, but during this time of year, it's not exactly what I want to be tapping into. So I said to her, and this is a nugget because I've had issues with my landlord for years, since we've moved in actually. So I said to her, why don't you just disconnect, isolate your property? What's that got to do with mine here? She says they're both connected. And I thought, there you go. Another little nugget of intel. They cannot isolate the two properties. incredible. I don't know. Anyway, can't say I got that off my chest because I'm trying to be politically correct with my language. Fill in the blanks and add on some more, and you're almost there. You're close. You're close to how I feel right now. Oh, goodness me. Oh, my goodness. Hang on a second. Wow, the chat's been going. I wonder if I've missed a question. Let me just double check. Let me double check. Oh, well, I'm going to look forward to that video, Julie's son. Alice, what can I say? Or Alice, I don't know, I usually say it the French way. Thank you for being here. Love me peeps with lives. Especially when I can actually do something and not sit in front of the screen and it's completely dark and I'm talking about orchids but can't actually be proactive with them. So it's great to have you. Thank you. My thanks go to you. Cup of coffee? I know. I'm sorry. This is the streams on, at least this is what I always say, Rick. The streams are like a city bus. You buy a ticket, let's just say, for a city tour. You get your ticket and it's like you hop on and you hop off depending on which location or what kind of sightseeing you would like to stop at and have a closer look. And when the next bus comes around, you hop back on. So please do not feel obliged to spend your Saturday morning here watching me weed orchids. I just want to try and get to the dish, so at least I can cover that detail with which I started. So you can see my mistake from last year is to get down and show you the tiny, tiny dish this orchid is sitting on. And it's been in this dish, well, it's an XXL orchid top. It's been in here since 2018. I do have a massive bowl where I could repot this one into. I just don't want to do it. Maybe as a last resort. And another thing I thought of doing is going in and really thinning out all the growths. Really like taking out bulbs, like doing a Figaro haircut, but really going deep in. And I'm also kind of loath to do that. So we'll see what happens this year with me just pouring water. Birdseed is coming out of it. Sorry, cousin it. Don't mean to laugh at you. Not laughing at you. No offense. So let me just see here. I want to also show you some blooms if you are interested before I have to connect to the charger, because these streams also really take up a lot of battery. So hang on a second. Let me show you the base. Sorry if I just blocked the view there with my noggin. Oops. Okay, you think a repot has many moving parts? Do a live stream on a mobile. Anyway, which I would love to do with somebody someday. I mean, in the winter it's always fun because I can sit there and feed off of somebody else's visuals during the night. But you see this tiny little dish here? Yeah, I was filling that, you know, I kept it full all the time last summer, but it's not enough. By the time the structures at the bottom had absorbed everything, the top really didn't get much. So now we're going to work at it differently. We're going to just pour in from the top and then see if that doesn't work out better for this orchid come the winter. Because I cannot carry cousin inside. That is just insane. He's heavy, he's big. He has approximately not quite a meter. We're about 60 centimeters to 60 centimeters width. There's no room in the end for that one. Okie dokie. So what I'm going to do is walk with you very slowly, make sure that my dogs have behaved themselves, which they have. There's no party with my neighbors this weekend. That helps a lot. Let me establish you. Check this out. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's my Dendrobium unicum. I have the most amazing fragrance wafting through the blooming alley right now of tangerine, citrus, orange body spray. If you're into misting, body mists and all that stuff, this is what this orchid smells like. It is divine, to say the least. Will you please, oh good, don't tell me. Just hold. Okay. Tripod malfunction. Okay. Well, okay, if you only hold there, then we'd lift you up. Never mind. We've got options. Look at that. Isn't this just insane? This is my best blooming ever on this orchid. And that cane looks to be shriveling, so I'm probably going to cut it short, even though it gets watered every day, several times a day. But there's about, I don't know, 12, 15 blooms on this. It's extremely heavy, very tiny little base. Not comfortable with that at all. I've got it resting on an older cane. So what I will do is probably just document the blooms and take them off, unfortunately. But I don't like seeing this shriveling on the cane. That has me a little bit concerned. The new growth is already starting. That is what we need to focus on when it comes to making sure that an orchid actually gets a chance to grow strong. I've had this orchid many years, but that doesn't mean that she is a vigorous grower. But we shall just, how do I say, rejoice in a beautiful blooming? Which is a pity because look at the next one up. I love having my unicum in bloom together with my Victoria Regina. Now it's dark. I hope this is not as dark as I can see on the screen. But you can see that I've got some lighter blooms, and from last week, the darker blooms have also opened up. And to have these two orchids in bloom together, this bright orange with that dark purple from the Victoria Regina, these are also like two colors that I love, love, love to combine, and the fashion industry should take note. Okay, another one. I'm going to get my other device just to see what we are up against, because I cannot change anything on the camera, I don't think, to raise the exposure. Do I dare touch anything? How bad is this? It doesn't look too bad. At least now what I'm seeing with my Laelia cincorana and my little Montiquere. My Rapiculus Laelia is still in bloom. And from last week, the second bloom has opened of my cincorana. Isn't this just precious? Huh? I mean, look at this tiny little orchid here. And look at the size of her blooms. Now my hands are dirty. And she's not a big grower. She's hungry though. At this moment, I'm just watering, and she's also progressing with another new growth. I think this is just darling. And you can see how I used the light training with the growths. That worked. And yet I didn't move the orchid until this bloom had opened, with the exception of last week. And yet they didn't open in the same way. But isn't that cute? I'm so excited. She's doing well. My other cincoranas are also doing well, but they're not as far along yet when it comes to blooming. So there's always room for one more. Yep, and that is also something that Desert Plants of Avalon always says. Okay, my radicans has opened up a little bit more. Let me show you. Over there. Isn't that gorgeous? These are the pups, like little jewels in my blooming alley at the moment. And when the sun hits them, it's like, well, I walk into my version of Aladdin's cave. And I see all these little sparkles everywhere. Love it. Love this space. What I really want to do with you next week is to do some flushing. We need to get this shelf like opened up. I want to talk to you about Dendrobium hibiki. So that'll be our stream for next week. I mean, look at how the sun just touches, just kisses that petal there. And it's another little sparkle. Oh, and Guarachea. Very dark over here. Sorry. Let me see if that's not too bad. Thank you, Rick. Woo Woo One is here, even though you retracted your message. I see you. I see you. Joe! Hey, hey, it's good to see you. Yes, I saw your comment. I haven't had time to reply, Joe, and it is probably Doriateranopsis, but I wanted to explain that to you in a little bit more detail because of the way you described the blooms, and when you said Dori, and I was like, yep, that's probably what it is. So, slow grower, that's the only thing I'm going to just throw in here very quickly, but I will get to your comment, I promise, and I shall expand on that. Okay, very dark. Sorry about that. Guarechea has a fragrance. I am so happy that my Dendrobium nobile next to it is still in bloom because that fragrance is much more potent and it overpowers the Guarechea fragrance. I mean, look, I am not going to knock these blooms, but it's not like I'm going to seek this orchid out to check out. Let me see what I can do. We're going to get this orchid out. The gifter is in the stream. I'm bringing this orchid out. Excuse me, we're on the move. I'm going to try and work my way back to the cousin it scenario here. I'm going to bring her out. Seeing as Fernanda is in the house, might as well show you. And I'm going to talk to you about it because love the blooms, love the color, love the uniqueness. And oh my goodness, love the thirst of this orchid. She's thirsty. She wants her water. I only just watered her a couple of days ago and the pot is empty again. So what I have mixed up today was a little bit of seaweed and calcium nitrate. Especially for orchids like these, that even while they're still in bloom, they are now already gearing up or working towards new growths. Today was calcium nitrate for everyone, especially also the bifoliates. Okay, let's have a look-see. Maybe I can pull her out, make sure I didn't give her too much. Nope, she can still take more. But look at the ants. At least somebody's having a field trip. Okay, sorry about the ants. If anybody doesn't like creepy crawly, they're just ants. But check out this. Check out this. It's just, lush gorgeousness. Anyway, check out the spike that's coming here. Once I was able to fertilize according to temperature. Look at this thing! In comparison to this thing here, which is also still a good spike. I mean, it's upright, not supported, nothing wrong with it. But I have to tiptoe when it comes to fertilizing. And when this orchid is in active growth, is exactly when I am tiptoeing with fertilizer. Don't want weak growths. And I don't have the light, so there's no need to put any nitrogen anywhere based on what the orchid could handle. But once the temperatures warmed up, I started going in, and you can see the difference. You see how chunky that is? I mean, that's pinky finger fat. Nice, chubby spike. And the amount of buds already showing on that spike in comparison to the one before that was developing during the time where I couldn't fertilize as much. Well, I mean, it's nice, but from that video, the potential this orchid has, it's insane if you can just go with it all the time. Even though now it's not an active growth, it's mobilizing, and well, I love it. Anyway, when I was actually starting the conversation, squirrel, I love it. Gotta love orchids. Anyway, it's got a fragrance. I prefer my nobile fragrance, and I'm glad nobile is pungent and smells of freesias because this one smells to me dun, 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 like an aromatic cat litter. Does that make sense? Perfumed cat litter where a cat had already done its business in. Not to the extent that there's more cat business than, the litter. But there is an odor of ammonia exuding from this orchid to my nose that I find rather troubling and unpleasant. And then it has a perfume about it that sort of tries to eradicate that ammonia smell. So that's the update to the video I made where I said maybe I've got a fragrance dud with this orchid, but nope. It's not like I'm not going to, sometimes I go in and just check, is this really what I'm smelling? I mean, it's the weirdest fragrance, but if you know what I'm talking about, cat litters that have a little bit perfume. That's what you're getting with this one. Well, my nose is getting that anyway. Now, where did I leave you so that I can see if anybody can corroborate that fragrance or if I'm just plucking things out of the air? You've been seeing more ants. Well, they might. They might also be enjoying happy sap. If you've got orchids that are growing new growth, the structures are insane on this one, Rick. I promise you. It's like a Prostechia and Cyclia. It just wants to, you know? Well, Prostechia is in its parentage, but it's just one of those orchids where you're like going, I can grow orchids. It's a confidence boosting orchid. It's lovely. So thank you again, Fernanda, for this wonderful gift. But Joe, if you've got new growths growing, there's a lot of happy sap around. It may have nothing to do with your bloom. They may be targeting that wonderful dew, the sugars. Okay, we're going to go back in the blooming alley because there is shade, and I am concerned about the transmitter. And I want to show you another vista, which I hope is visible. I mean, it's bright where I'm stood. Hope it's not too dark here. I could bring her out, but that would take a lot of fiddle, and I don't know if you've got time for that. It is an interesting fragrance, Denise. It is. Not exactly. I just remember it from when my daughter had a cat when she was little, and I was like, yeah, that thing. Some orchid vendors need to be more specific when they say fragrant is listed. Yes, that is absolutely true. And then also fragrance is something that everybody kind of denotes fragrances and interprets them in a different way. I try to be as specific as possible because I know it's hard, and I try to always equate fragrances with, everyday household things that you might find in the home that you can then try to picture or replicate in your nose, Like if they say a bulbophyllum is fragrant, it is, for sure. Question is, do you want that fragrance? Subjective, that's the word I was looking for. There you go, Rare Roots of Joy, Sharon's Sun. It could be a bulbophyllum, absolutely right. Which my plumatum is throwing out 2 more spikes. That's just crazy. It bloomed one earlier in the season. I wonder if I can get that orchid to bloom. My ceratolabium tried a spike for the first time since 2018 when I got the orchid. I can't show them now, otherwise I'm going to have to, remove the tripod because they're right between the 3 legs of the tripod. If I get down on my knees, I may not be able to get back up. So I'm not going to do that right now. And you don't need to hear me gasping as I try to, get back up to standing. It can be a little bit painful. But yeah, so my ceratolabium tried. At least it tried. And I do believe it was the birdies, not my conditions. My little wild birds that come in to visit Ciliano. I know now what I wanted to show you as well. I was going to make a community post and I thought, geez, it's a live stream. We're going to do it. Anyway, I may still make a community post, but the little wild birdies probably took a little nip on a very thin spike and cancelled it out. But that's a good start to see a ceratolabium that was limping along for many years, finally getting its groove on. Because it's one of those miniature little... Did I say ceratolabium? Contortisepalum. Sorry. Ceratolabium is my dendrobiums, my sharky. Anyway, you're still smelling vanilla and citrus from yesterday. Okay, I may need to go up there from your shopping trip. Anyway, so what we're looking at is Kautskiana. That's the Rapiculus laelia of epic proportions. Got this one from Anonymous as well. And I have always thought Rapiculus laelias were all the minis. You see, all these little pots right there? Those are all Rapiculus laelias. I was never, ever expecting one of these dimensions. So when I pulled this one out of the box, I was like, yo! I'm like, I have goals. Do other Rapiculus laelias do this as well? And I just haven't grown them on enough yet. Love this orchid. And she loves the camera. Takes amazing pictures, this orchid does. The lip is sensational. Oh, and while we're here, Look, yeah, tortilla is going out of bloom, so there's not much to see here, but I'm really pleased. You hear me a lot talking about my conditions, and I know it's getting darker and darker, but it's un poco complicado aquí de momento. This is my Paraphalaenopsis labucensis, Vandaceous orchid, extremely slow grower, warm to hot grower, is in leca, evaporative cooling, but when I got her, I could do everything that you should do during the winter months when it gets cold and less light. So, I have not switched her except potted her up to get more roots in the pot. And yes, I'm having this root stop growing. There's one right there. So I'm trying to tease it to start a root tip. I need that one. But look, since 2018, I have this orchid. You can see the birds also nipped that. During the winter, they're indoors. They're hanging out. Who needs to be in the cold? So they come in, they visit Ciliano, and then they hang out in my orchids. So it's a bit annoying, but I can't stop nature from being natural. I love them. I think they're so cute. One of them is being a bit of a pain in the butt. I think he's daddy. And we have a little bit of an argument who gets to go where, when. So, and then this leaf started developing, so I'm very pleased that the Labucensis is holding on. Never bloomed for me, clearly. The leaves should be about, well, let's just say this one here, this one leaf, we could double that. They just get really, really long. You can actually rope them up like a lasso, lasso or something like that. That's how long they can get in perfect conditions. Fantastic orchid, even though she looks a mess and on my shelf. But yes, I remember what I wanted to show you. Okay, we're gonna move. I don't know how high I can get the tripod. Oh, Guayense is going out of bloom. This has lasted forever. So next time I know, I don't have to worry. I can document the blooms as and when. That's been 2 months. Okie dokie, let's go uppy. Up, up, up. All right, I think I've got, you see that? Whoop, let me use the pillow. Do you see that? Excuse my dirty fingers, I haven't been able to wash them. Look at these 2 spikes. Oh, this is my Phalaenopsis pulchra. Look at her. I thought I was going to get at least one chance maybe of blooming. Look. This is growing orchids outdoors. The birds. Sorry about that gate. Look at that. I even saw it happening. They used them as perches, you know, perched on them. And I thought, oh, no, 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 no. And then I thought, yay, they didn't snap. And then the next day it was this. So we'll see if we can get some branching. I doubt it. The keiki is doing well. That much I can say. The keiki is doing very well. The keiki is growing a keiki on the spike I left on. So we're going to follow this pulchra central at some point, but I am so disappointed with those. Oh, but that's c'est la vie with outdoor growing and all that stuff. I remember now, that's what I wanted to show you. I even took a picture for a community post, but anyway, back to my other device, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Ryan Millet, hello from Romania. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that. Now, I could continue weeding, but I do need to check our battery life. So let me just scooch you this way and show you a Phyllum medusa. Not much to see here at the moment. And let me get you up. Oh, another mention. Yes. Monsieur, Stan the man. I only saw wilting on this spike on day 6. So, even though they only last 3 days, it is temperature, well, at least for this Stanhopeia acidensis, it's temperature based. Usually when they bloom in July, it's much hotter, much drier, etc. 3 days, then they wilt. I couldn't believe it. Day 4, I still had them from our stream last Saturday. The next morning, I still had them. They still looked great. Day 5, there was a little bit of wilting, but not much. The fragrance was still insane. Day 6, yep, they started to wilt. So I got me a few more days out of this orchid, which I will take any day. Now we wait. I still don't have spikes for this season. Now, what I'm going to do this time, what I didn't do last time, because I don't want to keep you too long. Don't know if I'm talking too much, showing you enough, talking too little. You want to see my little kit here ready to go? Boom. Ready to get some juice in. But what I want to do this time, because last time it was all a little bit shambles with my Ancelia africana, I'm going to bring her out into the sun. Oops, her pot is light. That means Madam needs to have another drink. Gotta love it. Got to love it when this happens. Now, do we need to get all the pedestal fandangle out? Probably. Looking at the spike from the front, you don't see much, do you? We're going to do this again. I am determined. This is Kenya mud crossed itself. And now that she's in the sun, the mud, the markings do kind of resemble mud. You know what's disappointing me though? I can see that a bloom has faded here. So they don't really open up. They're cupped. And I've been kind of waiting for them to open up. Quel dommage. I hope that this is not a constant with this one. Look at that. I mean, it's one heck of a spike, I can assure you. I love it. But it would be so nice if they were to open up a bit, you know? Instead of just fading. And they stay cupped. They're so pretty. Why? Why? ¿Por qué? Don't be so shy. Let me just go get some more juice for them. Because new growths are coming on these guys. I think I have a new growth on this one. I definitely have a new growth on my buffalo. So I'll just give this one some food. In Spain, we call that merienda, the afternoon little snack. Look at that. She's pretty and she smells nice, which I appreciate. But I am going to bring you in. My transmitter is warming up. Sorry. We're going to go back to Guarechea because I do need to check that we don't run out of juice. Wow, that looks dark. I can't help it, guys. One day we'll be able to sit here and it's not going to be so bad. I can put the lights on. How are we on? Yep, you see, 30% juice. Really drains the battery doing this. So it's either this or nothing. And I would rather just do this and hang out with you guys. I mean, it's not like I'm short of company. I've got all these orchids that keep me company and keep me busy. I've got Ciliano squawking in the background, but he's going to have to wait. We're not doing that song and dance this time around. Next time I'm thinking of going live a little bit later so that it's not like in the middle of the night for some and not, crack of dawn for others. And by that time, Ciliano will be in his jungle gym. And then we can showcase him a little bit as well. But I think 3:30 is a good time that covers at least, sometimes I get to see my Aussie friends on streams and I really do wish India would come in, but can't force everybody. Excuse me while I take a drink and find you. Where did I put you? Where did I leave you? Oh, goodness me. Alrighty, cousin it, I'll deal with you afterwards. Okay, I think everybody got the point when they saw what I'm up against with you. Right. Until late. Yes, it is already. It's already late in the Philippines, but let me tell you something. I appreciate it so much that you're here. Laura, it's good to see you. Hello, all the way from Texas. That's awesome. Happy Saturday to you. Don't know where you are. I used to live in Dallas. Actually, to be specific, in Carrollton, and I worked in Richardson. The Verdant Turf, goodbye. Thank you so much for being here. Say hello to Sir Tom when you see him. Know that both of you are super appreciated in your orchid paradise there, literally your own collection and the one that grows so beautifully in the wild. So thank you so, so much. If anybody has any questions, now is the time to ask if you would like to. Otherwise, I've pretty much covered everything. Oh, wait, just one more thing. In case Michael McCarthy is on the pre-play. Oh, and I'm so sorry leaving that for last. Okay, Michael McCarthy, I haven't featured my Dendrobium munificum? Speciosum, sorry, Maitsuru. My Dendrobium speciosum Maitsuru for a long time. Not because I'm ashamed of her, but, you know, she doesn't bloom. Excuse the state of her. I haven't wiped the leaves. I am watching for these spots right here. So she does have a tendency to lose leaves. That's not the issue. But dendrobiums are, when it comes to dealing with spotting or any fungal issues, anything, they object to anything that touches their leaves. So I'm not wiping her down specifically because I haven't quite figured these spots out and I want to observe them more closely. I've been treating them, all I've done is paint them with some garlic alcohol top and bottom. But this is the circumstances of my little speciosum, variegated. And it's unfortunate that this variegation here is, you know, with dirty leaves, but this is the latest new growth that grew starting January and matured just recently. So you can see what's going on. She has 2 leads. I was kind of hoping she would push out another new growth on this side. So I'm not going to be stressed about needing to repot her. But in case Michael McCarthy watches all the way to the end, or I can't clip this out, because if I edit my live stream, I lose the chat. That means all the links will be gone. Another feature that I can't stand. You make a mistake, for example, with a live stream and you'd like to edit out, blah, blah, blah. You can't. If I re-upload the stream, the chat file will be lost. So not doing that. Anyway, apologies that I can't take this apart and just feature this one separately. And if you did watch to the end, Michael McCarthy, there you go. And if not, then I'll try to remember for a regular little normal update video. In near Mexico, well, that's great. Mesquite. That was where I went for my first ever rodeo, like a tourist. Okay, now that I'm living in Texas, I have to embrace the culture. I need to get myself some boots, I need a hat, I need this, that, and the other, and I have to go to a rodeo. So it was in Mesquite. You know, forgive me for saying this, please receive this in the best way that I'm bringing it forward. If, you know, do not misinterpret what I'm saying. But having heard the Kenyan national anthem for so long, as my national anthem, and sang it for so long, and then, of course, being German, growing up with the German national anthem, I felt like such a traitor standing up before the rodeo started when they sang and played the Star Spangled Banner. It kind of then hit me that I wasn't home. It wasn't my anthem, if that makes sense. I don't know. I remember that from that rodeo. But that was so cool. Anyway, it was great to have you guys here. I hope that it was of some fun, some interest. Next week, I'm going to be filling the east side table you see here with orchids that need flushing, and we'll talk through some of those. Not only going to talk about, you know, things I'm a little bit concerned about, but just now I briefly touched upon the dendrobium issues when it comes to fungus. That would include my hibikis, etc., etc. So there are certain things I would like to address, and yes, I can do them in a video. Sometimes I don't know which is best, but sometimes when it comes to answering questions and interacting with you, I love live streams so much. You get them on black spots on the leaves. It's usual fungi if you're hard pressed to find one without them. Bye, Fernanda. Listen. Big hugs to you, but, you know, from a distance, I don't want to hurt you. Just know that I'm thinking about you, okay, sweetie? Please, please. Please. Thank you so much for being here. Very, very sweet of you. So the thing is that with the dens, it is an issue. So that's why one of the reasons I'm not letting hibiki bloom this year. Another one. I'm not going to let bloom. Okay, my daughter is back. She's taken a break for her lunch. And unless you want to hear me tell her about the water situation, I'm gonna end it here. A little bit abruptly. I'm sorry. Yes, they do prefer. They do. Yes, yes, and yes. I am still piecing some puzzles together, trying to find scientific reasoning as to why they are so prone to issues with the leaves and not accepting of bacterial products or fungicide products. That's one. Just 1 second. Sorry, guys. Baba, no tenemos agua. Vale, te explico luego, ¿vale? I know. I know. Sorry. Okay, sorry. That was quick. And her face resembled exactly how I feel. Anyway, and I don't want to take up her short lunch break. She needs to rest. With the warmer temperatures, it does drain you a lot more. But anyway, yes, I am still looking. And the thing is that you only get the answers if you know what you're searching for. So when I go into Google search to try and find some, I don't know, papers, documents, something to justify why dendrobiums are so susceptible and divas throwing a fit, losing their leaves when you use fungicides. I want to know what's wrong with their cell structure, what's up with the cuticle. Is there something with the stomata that there's a connection and any kind of fungicide, bactericide would cause that disconnect? But I'm not, I mean, I did do biology in school, but I'm not that versed in what am I trying to search? Because maybe if I searched correctly, I would find the answers. Or I'm searching correctly and nobody's really done a deeper dive into why the leaves do what they do. Oh, all these rabbit holes, I love them so much, but they're so frustrating when I can't get the response. I found one article that I took a screenshot of and saved, and it was about Dendrobium speciosum. But oh my goodness, it goes into some kind of lingo that's like hieroglyphics for me. So I have to decipher those in order to understand what I'm reading. It's just, and around and around and around she goes. Tea tree oil. Okay, as a preventative, right. I have Australian tea tree oil. You see, that is another good point. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. But they need their leaves to photosynthesize, especially if it's an evergreen one. I mean, and I'll show you. I'm thinking maybe I should do a video, but whatever happens, we'll talk about it probably in a stream, because if I can get some feedback, that would be amazing. But you see, the problem is, it could be a defense mechanism, Joe, possibly, and I'm going to go with that. Now my question comes, they need their leaves to photosynthesize. They are not deciduous, nor are they semi-deciduous to a degree, especially not hibiki. So if they drop their leaves, that means they get weakened with what? They can't photosynthesize. So they grow the next new growths, which are smaller, until, hopefully the spores, whatever the issue is not on older canes. So the next growth grows smaller, and then you just hope that you've eradicated the structures and cleaned them up and that they're free from any further contamination, let's say. But if you keep taking leaves off, which I have done as well, and that's why I also wanted to do that in a stream with my Patricia van Puyenbroek, it weakens the orchid. They've got nothing to photosynthesize with. Does that make sense? Environmental adaptation. It has to do with what they're exposed to. Absolutely. And one of those things that I have determined is, even though they like their foliar spraying and everything, if the temperatures are just a smidge off, as in my case, a teeny tiny bit cold, that's it. Done. Done. Spots. Fungal issues. So the balance has to be just perfect in order to be able to get away with foliar spraying, including airflow, and airflow is a cooling agent, blah, blah, blah. If you see what I mean, where I'm coming from, it has to be, That's why when I speak on like care advice, I try to say, do not spray, do not foliar spray. Anyway, there's a whole thing, a whole video about that as well, foliar spraying that I did. And if it's not exactly like so, dendrobiums that are evergreen will show issues, and you will only know after you've done it. It's not like they come with a warning sign, you know? Unfortunately, not many orchids do. Wouldn't that be lovely? Can you imagine? That would be a nice little niche to fill. Comes with a warning sign. This orchid is prone to spotting. Guess what? You'll never sell that orchid because people will go, huh? Thank you, Joe, for putting that link in. I appreciate that. They can, Rick. You see, this is what goes on in my head. And I should be doing X, Y, Z. And then I have a question. Then I go to my notebook. I write that question down. And then eventually, while I'm thinking and writing that question down, more bullet points come into my head as I'm writing that question down. And I'm like, I'm spending too much time on this. I need to go back. But I might forget the bullet points that I want to dig into. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I love it. I do love it. I just wish I had the answers sooner because it's been quite a few years and sometimes orchids do not give us that grace. And when it comes to dendrobiums, losing leaves, getting weaker, and we can't find the answer, we can't help, we lose the orchid. They don't give us much grace. You hated she hated the cold. She's a black-haired dendrobium. And then drop, exactly. And she's the black-haired dendrobium. She likes it warm all the time. And then she can tolerate high humidity and the dew, etc. with the airflow, because if it's warm, you apply the airflow during high humidity, the airflow cools the leaves down, but not to the degree where it would be a detriment, and you won't get fungal issues. The balance is insane. God, I love dendrobiums. Love them. They're frustrating. They sure keep us on our toes. One of yours looks hideous with black spots. Now I'm in a new place with more breeze. There you go. It is about airflow and temperature, because if one is cooling the orchid down too much while the other one is not high enough, dun dun dun. I suck at mathematics, but orchid equations, I know them. I can put an equation together like that when it comes to orchids. Possible self-regulation of certain nutrients, such as deciduous plants. Dropping leaves would stop them from recycling. Okay. My mind is spinning. Possible self-regulation of certain nutrients, such as deciduous plants. Dropping leaves. I'm so glad I have that in writing, because I'm going to have to mull over that one. Because that could be like a little door going opening that I could kind of like force myself into. Very interesting. Love, Rick. I am so happy to see you. I'm not going to get all in my feels here. I think you have read between the lines skills. I am so happy to see you. So happy. Stop them from, we stop them from recycling nitrogen, but our deciduous dendrobiums do that. The Ophyllum does that. My Bensoniae does that. Now, let's just say, hypothetically, my Victoria Regina were to start dropping leaves, and she is evergreen. I mean, she drops her leaves every once in a while. Her leaves have a lifespan. But imagine, that orchid is a slow grower. It would be a tough thing to bring her back. And that's why I am so careful with how I water her. Because if the conditions aren't right, I do not want spotting on that orchid. And then some orchids that I have spotted around every orchid that I seem to have spotting with, where I'm very dubious about it jumping to another orchid, pretty much is a dendrobium. So rabbit holes are great. Eventually we'll meet in one, Rick. Oh, hello. Excuse me, I didn't know you were here. It's a tight squeeze. Anyway, I'm too loud. I'm going to love and leave you, even though things are all settled here, but I will love and leave you now. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I so appreciate that you took the moment out of your day to join me on the patio. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with some black spots, Kingianum from the water and not drying. Same thing, same thing. Same family, Kingianum. Are they? Kingianum? No, Kingianum and Hibiki is similar, a different section, but same issues there. Water drops, spotting, not drying. The spots then get yellowing around them, and boop, the leaf falls off. Big hugs from Alabama, big hugs as well, and greetings to your wonderful camera lady, Rick. Thank you so much. Everybody, have a wonderful day and a beautiful night and a fabulous Sunday. On the condition, though, please, that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.